white-haired old man said like this, looked at Xianxia curiously, and said with a chuckle, "Little brother, are you a human race? Are you not embarrassed being with the enchantress?" "Embarrassed?" Xianxia frowned. "Old gentleman is talking nonsense." The old man shook his head. "Humans are humans, monsters are monsters. Human race hunt monster race, and the monster race also hunt human race. The two races are already opposed to each other, but now you are attached to the enchantress. Isn't this embarrassing and treacherous?" He subconsciously thought that Shui Ying with a stronger cultivation level had taken the lead, and Xianxia was following her orders. The old man asks you, "This enchantress said that the two senior brother and junior sister have fallen. Is this true?" The old man's expression suddenly stern, and he asked Xianxia in a low voice. "Yes, I saw them die with my own eyes." Xianxia nodded lightly. "Are you involved?" The old man squinted, his eyes filled with murderous intent. "Indeed." "Why?" "Seeing that the road is not flat, draw my sword and help." Xianxia replied in a deep voice. Shui Ying listened and curled her lips without a trace. "Good, good." The old man kept nodding his head in an extremely cold tone. "Dare to be bold. Young people are very courageous. The old man has written down your appearance. Remember, the blood prison will be your burial place." Xianxia smiled splendidly. "Old sir, before you talk big, you should measure yourself if you have the ability. Be careful of the wind flashes your tongue." The old man sneered. Whether it's enough or not, the old man knows in his heart. The old man will not argue with you now. Let the old man take this domain stone and talk about it. "Domain stone?" Xianxia raised his brows and said in an arrogant tone, "Domain stone is mine. Don't even think about getting involved." The old man was startled. The other two were also stunned, and immediately laughed together. The one-eyed man said with a sneer, "A kid who doesn't grown enough hair wants to take the domain stone? You should go back and cultivate for a few more years and raise your level. Now young people really don't know what to say. Dare to run to the blood prison with second-order void return stage. You idiots, I don't bother to have general knowledge with you. I have decided on domain stone. I will take it." Xianxia curled his lips in disdain. "Step forward and walk towards the domain whirlpool. Be careful." Shui Ying's face changed color. "Quickly remind him." She had experienced the terrifying power of this whirlpool before, and she knew how powerful this whirlpool was. The white-haired old man and the other three also stared at this sight in amazement. They didn't expect that Xianxia would rush into the domain whirlpool with such a grimace. "Is this looking for death?" The old man couldn't help but sneered. There was a playful smile on his face. Waiting to see the good show. He thought Xianxia would definitely be strangled by domain vortex. But the next moment, his smile stiffened on his face. The domain vortex, which made him and his companions very fearful, failed to stop Xianxia, the young man who uttered wild words, striding like meteors. Going inward step by step, completely treating the domain vortex as nothing. The old man couldn't help taking a cold breath, his eyes dull, and he paid more attention to Xianxia's movements. He clearly saw that Xianxia was permeating his body. That she was no less inferior than his, and even stronger. The invisible and intangible, she was like a perfect armor, protecting Xianxia's surroundings. He can walk inward without hindrance. Fortunately, this situation did not last long. The young man only walked inward for less than 20 feet, and his speed slowed down. He walked another 10 feet, and his figure stopped in place. Xianxia closed his eyes, feeling the magical fluctuations around him, and comprehending the mystery of this domain. Seeing this scene, the old man finally took a long breath. If Xianxia really walked to the center to take away the domain stone step by step without stopping, then he might have to vomit blood. Fortunately, although this kid was a little weird, he didn't really ignore the vortex of this domain. He also had to understand the mystery in it to get to the deepest point. "I still have a chance." The old man's eyes burst brightly, and he got up, regardless of the huge load he was bearing, and advanced a distance. Seeing this, the other two were unwilling to show weakness, and also walked forward for a while. The domain whirlpool, the more to the center, the stronger the power, and the greater the pressure of the martial artist in it. If it cannot be resisted, the final result will be strangulated by the domain. Therefore, when the cultivators are in the domain vortex to comprehend the mystery, they will generally do what they can, and they will not dare to be greedy, otherwise they will find their own way of death. Before Xianxia arrived, the old man and the other three were going to advance to the center step by step, and we're going to walk slowly to domain stone. They also had this confidence. However, Xianxia's arrival and bizarre performance made them aware of the crisis, and they realized that if they didn't speed up a little bit, they would have to give up the domain stone. The surrounding chaotic domain makes everyone afraid to easily attack others, otherwise it is very likely to trigger a rebound in the domain and ask for trouble. If not, the old man and the others would join forces to kill Xianxia first. In today's battle, whoever whacks to the center of the whirlpool first and takes away the domain stone is the winner. Whoever takes the lead gets the treasure. No one will show weakness. Outside the vortex, Shui Ying's beautiful eyes glowed with brilliance, staring at Xianxia's back, deeply shocked. This guy walked directly within 30 feet of the domain whirlpool without stopping. Step by step, it was like a sledgehammer hitting Shui Ying's heart, making her dull and almost unable to breathe. She can be sent by Lord Angry Crab to participate in the trial of the Blood Prison, means that she is the most powerful void return stage of the Lord Angry Crab. The attention of Lord Angry Crab, the respect and admiration of people in the same realm, gave her proud capital. She has never looked into other void return stage too seriously. But today, she finally put away the arrogant thoughts in her heart. Xianxia's performance made her realize that she was not doing well enough at the level of void return stage. At this level, there were still people overlooking her. After gritting higher teeth, Shui Ying also turned her own chi and stepped into the domain whirlpool. As soon as she entered it, Shui Ying trembled slightly. In all directions, the invisible and terrifying power can make her monster chi run wildly. Resisting hard, she stepped forward with difficulty, following Xianxia's footsteps step by step. Only less than 5 feet deep, Shui Ying could not move. Looking up at Xianxia, Shui Ying surprisingly found that in this very short time, this guy had moved forward again. How did he do it? Shui Ying don't understand. It has been less than half a day to get along with Xianxia. Her pride and self-confidence have been blown away. She finds that she is incomparable with this human race. Shui Lian and Mitian are not good either. On the Monster Emperor star, all of the powerhouse at the Lord level evaluate Shui Lian and Mitian extremely high, thinking that these two rookies are likely to be promoted to the Void King realm and become Lord level existence. If it is said that Shui Lian and Mitian have a great possibility of being promoted to the Void King realm, then Shui Ying is sure Xianxia can definitely be promoted to the Void King realm, just by relying on his current outstanding performance. It shows that his manipulation of Shi has reached the level that makes all the void return stage sigh. He may have also comprehended the mystery of the domain. For the first time, Shui Ying expressed another void return stage, and the back figure that was drifting away in front of her was like an unattainable mountain. She can only look up. Impossible, this is impossible. The one-eyed man's yelling sounded into everyone's ears. His eyes tremblingly looked in Xianxia's direction, watching him walk step by step toward the center of the whirlpool. Even if there is an occasional break, it won't take long to start again. The powerful domain vortex seems to be unable to stop him at all. The one-eyed man's eyes were blank and scattered, his face was dull, and he was shocked by Xianxia's actions. Calm down. The white-haired old man suddenly yelled, this kid is indeed a bit weird, but we started earlier than him. He is still behind us in distance. We may still have a chance. In any case, we can't let this kid succeed. Hearing what he said, the one-eyed man seemed to recover. He took a deep breath and nodded heavily. I see. Really? Yongkai grinned suddenly, and looked up at the white-haired old man. Am I behind you in the distance? Look again, and then calculate carefully. When the words fell, Yongkai, who had been standing still for a long time, suddenly moved forward lightly. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, there is no meaning to stop at all, and it looks like he was going through the rotten woods, unstoppable, approaching the center at a very fast speed, approaching the few domain stones. The old man was stunned, the one-eyed man was stunned, and the third man was stunned. Shui Ying exclaimed, her little hand covered her red lips, staring blankly in Yongkai's direction. Yongkai seemed to have suddenly figured out something. The power of his own chi enveloped him and bounced off the power of all domain. There was no obstacle in his way. He easily reached the center. The 3 old men looked hurriedly, feeling helpless. At this moment, they don't know what to do. If they were nearby, they would definitely go all out to stop Yongkai together, but in this domain vortex, they could only watch and couldn't do anything. Their faces became gray and bitter. Leisurely, the old man's eyes lit up and he seemed to have discovered something extraordinary. At the center of the vortex, Yongkai's step stopped in the air, and he seemed unable to land this last step. His brows frowned, revealing a thoughtful look. This kid is in trouble. The old man was overjoyed and secretly prayed that the kid had better stop there, or be directly strangled by the domain vortex. He clearly felt that there was some strange movement in the vortex of this domain. It seemed that most of the power was attracted by Yongkai, and was putting pressure on him, wanting to crush him into powder. Yongkai's face gradually became dignified, sweat oozes from his forehead, dripping drop by drop, and the power of the invisible domain continued to destroy his body. The pressure of the old man and the others suddenly lightened, and after looking at each other, they rushed forward with red eyes, moving strangely. To be continued.